Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us today. Today we've got myself, Aaron Bell from Home Loan Village, and we've got Michael Hunnam, a renovation specialist from Rebuild.
Hi there.
Hey Mike, and we've also got Melissa Betts from Positive Space Design. She's an interior designer.
Hi.
Amongst other things, many talents. Michael, I want to start with you, mate. A question around this new home builder stuff. Basically, who will it work for?
Well, if we look at the criteria, I mean, it's early days, isn't it? So there's still more information to be released. But if you look at the current criteria, and I've been thinking about how people are going to navigate through that criteria, it seems to me that this may suit people in Western Sydney, given the 1.5 million, property value threshold. So folks in the Western Sydney, and for some members of Sydney's Hills, and indeed in the outer areas. But I think the big bang for the buck, it would seem to me, are those folks who will spend just over, will go to the 150,000 for a renovation. I'm talking renovations because we're renovation specialists. So thinking about the clients that we're in contact with and will be in contact with as a result of incentive is if they go to 150, 155, 160, they're going to get $25,000 as an incentive, and that's going to come off the price. So I think in my mind, it's the couples that live in those areas that are most likely to win the most, given the current information anyway. So, yeah.
I like that. I think that's a good point. You're right. When it comes to, if you're going to save 25,000, if you're saving 25,000 on 150, that's a much larger percentage than 25,000 on 750.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sure. So, very good point, mate. Very good point. Mel, how does an interior designer and decorator, how kind of would you fit best in this picture?
Well, I think knowing that 150K is a lot of money, and in anyone's books, we still would like to have that amount of money to spend on a renovation. So the biggest thing we need to work on is making sure that you've got value for money. So I guess the way I would look at a renovation of a 150 plus would be making sure that the finishes, you're getting a quality, making sure that you've got the right layout for your home. So whether there's a wall that needs to be opened up, and that can change your floor plan incredibly, whether you can, split 3 bedrooms into 2 and actually have 2 usable bedrooms rather than 3 cupboards. There are so many of these old floor plans that are just little rabbit warrens, and they need to be opened up for modern families. And I think also with the amount of working from home we're doing at the moment, and the prospect of continuing to work from home, I think we really need to start considering home office space and home studios and those sorts of things that that we can actually make better use, more functional use of our spaces.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point. I was wondering if you were going to actually mention my orange triangles on my whiteboard, not being that.
They're delightful.
Yes, well, I put them there.
Especially for today.
I'm just looking at my screen. I'm like, it does kind of look weird. Anyway, there is a story, but I'm not going to go into it right now.
Yeah. So, Aaron, what's your thought on the finances and eligibility and those sorts of things?
Yeah, so that's a good point. And obviously we're concentrating today on that renovation aspect. In terms of eligibility, it's based income-wise. The income test for a couple is based on earning less than $200,000, based on your tax return from the last financial year, which at the moment, the last financial year being 2018, 2019. So it's actually quite some time ago. Now, you might be earning or going to earn $200,000 this financial year, but it's not actually based on this financial year. It's based on the previous. Now, it's based on the 2018-19, unless you've got a newer one done as well. So it's, from a timing perspective, it's going to be fairly interesting around that, in that some people who are eligible right now in, say, 4 or 5 months may not be eligible because we'll be using a different tax year. Now, tax returns for the current financial year might not actually be completed and done by people until well into next financial year or next calendar year. So depending on the person, and a lot of it kind of relies on, are they self-employed, not self-employed, that's going to kind of determine to an extent which financial year we're even talking about there. So that's one kind of interesting component that I would say, if you're considering this, thinking about this, timing is key, amongst a couple of other kind of timing components, like when the build actually needs to start, for example. Yeah, actually, Mike, I might get you to maybe just touch on that timing piece, because I think it's pretty important as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Well, if we look at who's going to take advantage of the incentive, I can see Aaron. I can see you getting the calls as a mortgage broker from clients to say, "What's the eligibility? Do I fit the eligibility? And while we're there, can you shop me a loan?" So they're going to get the full finance picture from you. I know I've been out with Mel to see clients. Melissa Betts, Positive Space Design is her company, and we've been out with her, and we've had a great time actually throwing out ideas as to what can be done structurally and non-structurally to. There's a lot of properties out there where we can actually reclaim the laundry area, where we can actually the picture behind me, if I can just move things about there, you can see a front load washing machine in the kitchen. All right, that gives me the laundry area back to use in the living space in other areas. And I know I've been out with Mel, and you can just see that people are doing these makeshift, study areas. There has been a bit of a push on floor plans in the last decade to get laptops in and to get study spaces in for the kids, or just a place for husband and wife to pay bills. But now we've got that shifted again, where we're looking at formalising home offices. The people I'm talking to and the business owners I've been talking to recently, I'm thinking about a lawyer who I just spoke to his associate in the business and said, "We're loving working from home right now, so we're going to keep doing this. So we might just formalise this with touch cabinetry, and I need somewhere to put all the archive boxes, and I want a big table, so not a sort of IKEA type desk, although not knocking those, but wanting something a bit more substantial, and everything has got to look good and fit good, because I'm going to be in here for the long haul. I'm going to stay in this house for 5 to 10 years. I want something substantial, something built in, something formalised. So, and I think that's, I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of where things are going right now. And I think that the services that Mel provides in reclaiming storage area and making it better, and for people like us who are renovation specialists, you can take that design and then go, all right, let's outwork this with a structural engineer, make it work, pull out walls, make the house more sociable, but also give that privacy aspect, acoustic insulation to make it quieter, that kind of deal. And formalise those areas are going to make people a lot more happier and upgrade where they live, where they play, and definitely where they work.
I think some of the other things that might speed the process up and make sure people actually meet the timeline cutoffs is reconfiguring the spaces inside rather than looking at extensions, whether you're going up or out.
100%.
There's less involvement with DAs and need for paperwork. So managing what can be done within this time frame, and how, I guess, where your budget can be best spent. Not to say that you can't do those things down the track, but maybe put this in as a matter of priority, knowing that maybe you're going to put on a second story with another couple of bedrooms 12 months later or whatever.
Yeah. No, really good points. Really good points. Right, guys. Well, I mean, unless if you guys have anything else you'd like to kind of finish off on, I think that's probably heaps of information for anyone who's kind of searching around for a little bit of a tidbit. There's still a lot to be really known and understood. The application process itself, certainly for New South Wales, hasn't been formalised, hasn't been put out. I believe Western Australia has put theirs out, but majority of states so far that I've looked at haven't. So there are still certainly some details to kind of be ironed out and finalised.
Yeah, very good. No, fantastic. No, thanks, guys. I really appreciate. I know I've sent you some clients, Aaron, and across, and you've done the same with us. And Mel and I have collaborated with clients and have some on the table right now. I know there's a lot of trust between us, so I just appreciate the fact that we can come together in the Zoom room, and actually nut out these things for the sake of our putting good stewardship on our clients. So I want to thank you for that and for taking the initiative to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys too, for sure.
Good to catch up.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Guys.
Bye.